Yes, we're live. Hello, guys. How you doing? Welcome, friends, to the Readers Public Show. Today is going to be an amazing time, beautiful time together, because we're going to be discussing building strong foundation, identify core values and principles. Welcome. If today is your first time listening, joining me on my channel. This is the show where we have conversations around reading, personal growth, productivity, and so much more. We do this every single Friday by 8 p.m. What? So, guys, stay tuned and make sure that you are always here. Okay? We've got to be able to build strong foundation. Tell me your name. Where are you listening from in the comments? Where are you listening to me from in the comment section? Your name, where you listening from, and let's have a chat around what we've got today. Building strong foundation. Really a beautiful book. I love it. I'm talking about book. I'm used to books now. Really a beautiful, subject because it is a necessity. I saw something recently on the internet which I really love so much, and the the person that wrote it said something around the fact that a lot of people in this time and age are so passionate about building the life that is out there, the life that people should see, what we popularly call branding. But the truth is, how many of these persons are really willing and ready to, build competencies, skills deep down? Yes, for me personally, over time, I have been able to put on the path of personal transformation, impact, and I have come to realize that when it comes to really impacting lives on a deeper level, there's just so much that is necessary when it comes to foundation. And when it also comes to living a life of fulfillment, we don't want to be able to live fulfilled lives where we are able to somehow bless other people, impact them, and also help them take their personal transformation to the next level in one way or the other. But how many of us are ready to do the work, to do our due diligence, back end, such that at the end of the day, people are able to build this level of commitment to whatever it is that we're bringing to the table. So beyond all the externalities of trying to be out there, trying to be known, liked, and trust, how many of us are willing to build this solid foundation where we were able to sort of navigate our lives on a deeper level? So building strong foundation is the subject of today, and I love it so much because it is something that is so connected to our lives. Okay, whether you're a business person, whether you're not a business person, maybe you're just want to build capacity in the area of your relationship. All right, personal growth and transformation. I see Jemima, how you doing? Welcome to class. And I don't do African time, so I've started already. When you meet me, you continue from there. So whatever it is that you want to do, you just realize that at the core of it, foundation is really important. Even when you want to build a house, all right, you want to build a bungalow, you want to build a skyscraper, you want to build whatever sort of building, okay, there is the necessity for you to have that foundation. I can't seem to see people live, so if you are here, but I can see comments from Jemima. If you are here, just tell us your name and where you're joining from. Jemima is joining from Nigeria. You're welcome. Martin, you're welcome. So this is really profound. I'm going to be recommending about 4 books today. Somebody should type 4 books in the room. 4 books. Yes, in here we'll talk about reading, personal development. These are the central part of our conversation. Central part of our conversations, and then we have to go deep into it. So the first book I'm going to recommend is the book by Ann Hiatt. The title of the book is Bet on Yourself. Bet on Yourself by Ann Hiatt. A-double-N. Then Hiatt is spelled as Hiatt. Somebody should put that in the comments. All right. So Ann Hiatt is the first author I'm recommending today. The reason I recommend these books is so that you are able to build you're able to build, should we also call it foundation because our subject today is foundation. Okay, you're able to build a certain level of depth. Depth is important. Like I was saying from the beginning, that People are interested in branding, but they are not interested in building competency skills. That's why my course on personal development really has the part of building competency skill and the part of showcasing what you've got in the place of branding. So, Bet on Yourself is a great book. You're going to be able to interact with roadmap that will help you become really exceptional in terms of how you take your life to the next level. So how you doing? Welcome to class. So that's the first book I'm going to be recommending. So stay tuned to the end of the class because I have other three books to recommend as well. So I want you to know that identifying core values and principles is really the process. Okay, you can write that in your notebook. Is the process of determining the fundamental beliefs and guiding standard that can shape your life or that has shaped your life up until this extent of your life. Okay, they shape our decisions, our actions, our emotions, our behaviors. If you are feeling a certain over a situation, look back into your value system. What value do I carry? What are my principles? Okay. Um, when my dad was alive, people used to say that he's very principled. My dad also used to say, I'm a very principled person. I don't go back now. In those days, when we want to say somebody is principled, we tend to look at them as very strict people, right? Like they are so strict. When they say yes, they don't go back on their words. How many of us can attest? When they say yes, I'm going to do this, they come back on their words. So there's a part of my story that I haven't really shared. Maybe one of these days I'm going to share that part of my story. But it's really connected to the fact that we need to understand what our core values are. Yeah, if we know that it's going to save us of a lot of challenges, of a lot of stress, okay, and it's going to help us in a lot of ways as well. The way we navigate our lives, the way we do our things, it is going to help us big time. Yeah, it is going to help us big time. Okay, so identifying core values, and thank you for sharing that, Janina. Identifying core values and principles is the process of determining your fundamental beliefs. Now, the challenge with really identifying your beliefs is the fact that when you look at your life personally, you discover that your belief system is something that is in your subconscious. Some of these things are things that when you were even growing up, you didn't know they existed, you didn't know about them. Somebody in one way or the other, environmental factor, families have been able to inculcate all of this belief system into your person that you don't even know by our standard. You don't even know by our standard what it looks like. So most times identifying them takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of doggedness and commitment for you to be able to understand what your core values are. So whenever we talk about core values, you're like, values. If I ask you now, what are your values? Maybe you can just begin to mention a few things, all right? But deep down, are you sure that those things are really your values? Because when your actions are not aligning with your work, with your belief, then it means that you really do not know what your values are. And the reason people are depressed most of the times is because they've not been able to understand how to execute and take actionable steps in line with their values, in line with the principles that they hold so dearly. Do you get the gist? So you are placed in a certain position where you cannot make decisions that are accurate in alignment with your values. Okay? For example, if you look at your country, or maybe my country, for example, there are certain levels of disorderliness, chaos in leadership, and thereabout. And you'll be wondering why are things like this? And then you, that is an innocent human being, maybe you have a certain regard for integrity, and then you go and place yourself in such position because the system is already not standardized. It is going to cause a misalignment with your personality. And then you wake up in the morning, you want to go to work, you are not happy. You want to go to the office, you're not happy. Why are you not happy? You don't even know. You're like, I don't want to work in that office, the way they do their things. I don't like those things. I don't like the way the boss talk to people because these things are not in alignment to your value. Okay, so when your actions, thank you, Jemima, for that. When your actions do not align with your belief, it means know your values yet. So let's even say you are a Christian, you go to a certain church, or maybe you visited a new environment and you're like, okay, let me look out for the church I would love to attend around here. And then you visited this church and that church, and the way the pastor preached in this first church, you're like, no, 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 I'm not meant to be there. And then you went to this other church, you're like, yeah, that's my church. Many of you have been in that position. That's my church. I've got to be there. All right. I remember this story vividly. I was sharing the story with my husband today. There was this guy in those days when I was still a single lady. I wasn't married yet. There was this guy, so fine, handsome brother. And for the fact that he was really a church person, I loved him so much. And I was like, oh my God. We started having conversations. We started talking. I discovered that we could align. We could really talk deep things that I'm like, oh, this is the kind of guy that I can really connect to when it comes to marriage. And of course, the guy was already showing interest in me, just looking at my life, and person was always like, ah, Faith, I love you. I love the way you talk. I love your belief. I love your the fact that you are open to learning, and you're also this and that. So we're just connecting. Sometimes we go out to the local restaurant close to my house. We go and just take pepper soup. How many of you know pepper soup? So go and take pepper soup. And for the fact that it's also from a certain tribe that I like, not that I'm sort of a tribalistic person, but just for the fact that it's from that place, I like things so much. So we kept on talking. Now, she was supposed to answer brother like I said, okay, oh, all right. So there was this very day, friends, type in the comment, there was this very day. So we're just gisting, we're having a conversation, and then many a times I started finding myself around this guy. I would finish, and then I was living with my auntie in a certain city. Yes, goat meat pepper soup. I was living with my auntie in a certain city. I would live there. I'll move to where we normally meet in a golf course like that. So we'll be gisting, we'll be teaching me how to play golf, though I wasn't good at it and I was not interested. So I was only interested in the conversation. But there was this day, and I was like, how about, because he was already showing interest, and me, I was liking him as well. How about you go have conversations with my pastor, because he's also a pastor. I was like, your pastor, and then he said certain things around the fact that, oh no, I don't want to go see your pastor. What level is your pastor? Then he started trying to get to know my pastor, and I told him about, because I was, he's my pastor. I love my pastor. I was like, no. So the way he said the thing, immediately my mind of mine, inside my belief system and my subconscious, it was -1. Yes, it was exactly minus for him, because I discovered that just that one statement. Can you imagine, guys? All right. Just that, when many of you like stories, so look at you now, so he said this. Yeah, just that one statement he made concerning my pastor. He didn't insult him actually, but the word he used was demeaning, to say that this person, I'm like, this person, I love this person, I respect this person so much. Why will you say such a word? And in my mind, I was like, end of goat meat pepper soup joint, end of all of this. But I was still having conversations with him once in a while. But I left that environment immediately. And he didn't know, but I applied wisdom. What am I saying in a nutshell? These things have happened again and again. You go to the market to buy something. How many of you have gone to the market to buy something, and maybe the market woman was supposed to give you 500 naira as change, and she decides to give you 1 5? What do you do immediately? Are you the type that will quickly return money? I say, oh, man, oh, you gave me this extra money that was not supposed to be. Some people will be like, ah, thank God, though. Ah, the woman made a mistake. Do you get it? So the truth is, that can be traced to the fact that you have a certain belief, you have a certain level of value. There are other deeper things. Okay, sometimes you discover that people are not quick to make decisions for who to marry. People are not quick to make business decisions. People cannot make certain decisions in their lives because they don't understand how to begin to, tally their values with their action. All right. So we're going to go deep into this conversation. I have recommended a book for you to go read. The title of the book is Bet on Yourself by Ann Hiatt. So I said identifying core values and principles is the process of determining the fundamental beliefs and guiding standard that shape an individual life. Now, the beauty of this thing is that once you know what yours are, to a level, you will now begin to learn how to, work on the ones that are not too perfect. Because there are certain things that we also have within us that are not good at all. They are nothing to write home about. You yourself, you are aware of that. You know them, right? If you are tested in terms of character right now, you discover that, yeah, I think you told me this story, $300. Yeah. So if you are tested in terms of character right now, you discover that you are nowhere to be found. Do you get it? It's okay. The essence of this conversation so that you can begin to have an understanding. We are building this solid foundation because when you have this understanding, you also know the kind of people to engage with when it comes to businesses. There are certain people you cannot do business with them just by the way they talk. You're like, you talk this way, I beg you, we cannot do business together. I beg, I'm sorry. We can't do business together. I've had situations where people come into my space for coaching and mentorship, and I'm like, with the way the person is even talking, I'm like, sorry, I can't coach you. The reason is because not because I don't have the framework to dispense, all right, but then looking at the way you talk, I don't think I can even help you, right? So you just begin to realize that your values are not aligned. So let's look at some of the key roadmaps that will help us to begin to identify core values. I've shared a book right now. I said you should go read Bet on Yourself by Ann Hiatt. Remember, what I love about Ann Hiatt is that she shared a roadmap. One of the very roadmaps she shared is the fact that you have to be hardworking. And then she learned that, excuse me, guys. Can you still hear me, guys? You can hear me. Tell me I can hear you in the comments. Okay, Mom Girlie, welcome to class. How you doing? I hope my microphone is still microphoning. You can hear me clearly. You can hear me. Let me know I can hear you. Okay, so it is really beautiful for us to have an understanding that identifying these core values, though it may take time, is a lifetime thing. Because as you grow, you are going to keep adding some and removing some. Do you get it, guys? As you grow on your journey, you are going to keep adding some and removing some. Okay? So these core values, they really have a lot of role to play as to how we move forward, as to how we evolve and really take our lives to the next level. So I was sharing from the work of Ann Hiatt that one of the very things I love about Ann Hiatt's roadmap is the fact that he's been able to share a lot around hard work, that he learned hard work from the father, okay, from his background. He learned hard work, okay, how to be hardworking, how to be able to really put yourself together, okay, how to really put yourself together and ascertain that this is what it looks like for me. Many of you have read Kaizen Principle by the Japanese sort of people. You've read it, okay? You've read the Kaizen Principle. You've read other kind of books. You've seen principles being shared, and you're like, oh my God, this is so profound. I love it. Some of these things are values, all right? The Japanese themselves, for example, if you look at the people of the Okinawas, they have a certain foundation, a certain value system and belief, and they eat a certain way. I can never forget the concept of arachibo, and I sang it multiple times to my kids. Oh, I'm going to go get those plates. Stop asking me for more food. I'm going to go get the plates for you to begin to do arachibu. Each time I mention it in the my son will be like, oh, mommy, no, 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 arachibu. I'm not doing arachibu because they know that it's going to be a small portion. So these are fundamental value system that has been held for the longest of time, right? So if you look at your life, you understand that there are values. Maybe you caught those values from your parents. Now, the truth is, for me personally, some of the ways and manner at which I behave is not really because of the fact that I'm a Christian or I read it from the Bible. I discovered that because I grew up with my grandparents, there are certain things I know so much. There are certain things I can never dare. Okay? Because one of such value I learned from my grandparents is contentment. Contentment. I remember in those days of Christmas, they will eat eba. How many of you know what eba is? If you are not a Nigerian, please go and check it on Google. Google eba. Eba and egusi soup. We eat eba on Christmas, then I will see my neighbors, they're eating rice, they're eating something. My grandmother will say, today we're not eating rice. We're eating eba today, and this is the best food for today. I learned contentment. Yeah, I have to be content with what I have got. That does not mean that I shouldn't be able to aspire for more. My grandmother was also a very hardworking woman. So hardworking. She was sick for good 12 years, and in that sickness, she was still doing business just to survive. So I can relate with the contentment aspect of life and also the hardworking aspect of life. These were values I picked up just by interacting with my grandparents. I learned at a very tender age how to connect with people. Yes, how to never look down on people, no matter their status, no matter where they are coming from, because I am also coming from somewhere. How to always greet people. How many of you know this? If you have stayed with a grandparent, maybe she also will understand. You must greet. You cannot pass an elder without salute, without greeting. I see some of you sometimes when I say good morning, ma'am, good morning, they be like, Coach Faith now. Just call my name. I'm like, this thing cannot just happen. It's already in my system. All right. You see me speaking to a young person, I'm like, good morning, sir. The person is like, madam, what you happen? He's already used to me. It's just the way I was nurtured. I don't look at people and say, oh, this one has a certain category because you have this, and then I have to do this. I respect everybody. So these are some of the basic values I was able to glean from my grandparents. There are a lot of them. There are a lot of them. But I'm just trying to let you know some of the basic ones. I can remember my grandmother giving me a banana and granite soup to carry to school. Many of you can remember that. I've carried starch to school. And then I remember in those days, I would tell you, I cannot carry this food to school. My classmates will laugh at me. And she'll tell me, no problem, be going. Once it is break time, you just see Iye at the gate, at the school gate with a bar. And not that the bar is bad for those of you that are not Nigerians. It's a good food, but we don't see it as the kind of food that you have to take to school because we eat it with our hands. You have to wash your hand and swallow it with your hands. So we want to take food that we can use our spoon, maybe our fork to eat. Here will bring you to school and be like, you have to eat this food. This is what I can provide right now. And you've got no choice. And she will tell you, I raised your father with this food, you have to eat it. And we eat it with joy. At some point I got used to it. Even my fellow classmates, they knew that this one na by level. There are days I will eat rice as well, eat other kind of food, but there was nothing like when grandma says, take this, and you say, I don't want it. So we're content with what we've got. So these are the basic values. Maybe as I'm saying this right now, you are also reflecting on your past experiences. You're looking at some of the values that you have cultivated over the years. Sometimes when we start experiencing the modern life, we try to trivialize those things. We trivialize and we're like, no, I'm not sophisticated. I don't have to do this. My God, how sophisticated can you be? How sophisticated can you be? At this level, guys, at this level that I am, the days I don't take Uber, for example, to the market, I still carry my bag, my sack of groceries on my head. I don't know how many of you understand that. I carry it on my head. And somebody will look at my husband will be like, the day they will catch you, your student will be like, is this Coach Faith? I said, please. In fact, few days ago, I was coming back from the market. I couldn't help it because I don't know how to carry load on my hand. And my grandmother would always say, yeah, put this one on your head. Oh, yeah, I'll carry this one. So I was coming back from the market, and one woman just looked at me and was like, is this not that woman? Before I would realize, the load was already on my head. Now, what am I saying in a nutshell? It's really a humble lifestyle, and I love it so much. There are certain qualities that we have cultivated over the years, and we just neglect them. We feel now we live in a modern society, we have to trivialize them. No, these are foundational principles. Of course, there are some that are not good. You cannot enter certain rooms with them. You have to also know how to manage them. But then there are some that are very perfect. They are beautiful. Just imagine a Japanese man comes to your house and they want to eat with 5 different plates at the same time. Aren't you going to say, what's wrong with this person? And now we have it in a book as Ikigai, right? We have it in a book as Ikigai. And we're talking about the Arachibu lifestyle of eating. The Arachibu lifestyle of eating. And somebody is like, Arachibu, 5 plates on the table. What is it? Do you have a problem with eating? But that's it. That's it for them. So, guys, values are fundamental. Okay. Now, what I have just taken you through now, a moment of reflection. We're trying to look back at some of the lives that we've lived that are really beautiful. Some of them we have neglected them because we feel that we're not living somewhere in a sophisticated world, so we don't need to bring those things into these experiences, guys. So the first thing I have just taught you now is the concept of self-reflection. Yes, that's it, Jemima. Ikigai, Hector Garcia, and Francesc Miraz. Oh, okay, Mom Gali says, I dread buying groceries. Many of us do. I too. Not really my thing. Except that I have a very close supermarket around. I can stroll to. Okay, so the very first thing I have shared with you guys right now is the concept of self-reflection. How many of you love to self-reflect a lot? Let me see in the comments. Tell me, tell me, tell me. So you can imagine somebody putting the values that they've learned from the Japanese culture into a book, and now it has sold millions of copies all over the world. So that is the power of what I'm trying to say to you. You can see that. Hector Garcia. So self-reflection is important. Let me recommend another book that will help you on the path of self-reflection. All right. The title of the book. Okay, I have 2 books. One of it is Finding Your Way by Sharon Salzberg. Finding Your Way. I think I shared lessons from the book on our leaders Facebook platform. You can go read some of those lessons. They are powerful. We learn about the concept of self-reflection. The truth is, if you are not a self-reflective person, you will not be an authentic person. Type it in the comment. You will not be an authentic person. You will not be a real person. You'll be so fake. Because we live in a time right now where people are so fake. Of course, they want to be able to showcase a certain level of whatever that will make you look at them a certain way. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to, realign your perception. But the truth is, authenticity is what brings the connection. In my work, in my personal development framework, authenticity is the second, module after self-discovery. Authenticity is the second module. The truth is, for people to connect with you, they need that level of authenticity. They need you to be authentic in your own expression. You can also read The Gift of Imperfection by Brené Brown. How many of you have read the work of Brené Brown? Yes. Brené Brown is a wonderful woman. She has a lot to share around shame, authenticity, vulnerability. Yeah. So in the place of self-reflection, is the time when you just sit down, you're asking yourself some kind of empowering questions. You're like, oh my God, like I have reflected so well right now, and I'm so emotional somehow because just took me back to those days. Right? So you can read The Gift of Imperfection by Brené Brown. You can read Finding Your Way by Sharon Salzberg. You can also read It's on Me by Sarah Kubrick. It's on Me. Okay. So self-reflection is a tool to allow you introspect, for you to engage in the concept of introspection. That's the book. Introspection. Okay? You introspect, you explore your beliefs. In fact, the author of and Hiatt, the author of Bet on Yourself, was asked some of the guiding principles of the likes of Jeff Bezos, because she has worked with the likes of Jeff Bezos for some years and other great people, CEO in Silicon Valley. She was asked what are some of their um, abilities and some of the mistakes she's also thought about that has really plagued most entrepreneurs, business people in relationship and all that. And then she said the fact that we are so overscheduled and we don't reflect. Overscheduling. There are a lot of things to be done, of course. There are a lot of books to be read. There are a lot of classes to go through, but we don't reflect. We don't spend enough time in the place of introspection. All right. Like I said already, it is through introspection that you are able to sort of build that level of authenticity. Yes, if you're an introspective person, you don't raise shoulders. Okay, you don't raise shoulders no matter what you have achieved or accomplished. You don't raise shoulders. You don't look down on people. You have certain values that you hold in high regard that can really begin to shine through in your authentic expressions. Because the beauty of identifying your core values and principles is that your actions will now begin to fall in alignment with your personality. So you are not disconnected. There's no disconnection. There's a realm of synchronicity between your inward self and your outward self. So what I'm saying, when there is no authenticity, it means that your outward self is disconnected from your inward self. There is no alignment, there is no flow, there's no synchronicity. Okay? It is in the place of synchronicity you begin to have serendipitous moments. When we talk about serendipitous moment, we're talking about spiritual awakening. Okay, if you are a church person, we'll talk about getting inspiration from the Spirit of God because you are connected to your core. Many a times we can use different ways to introspect. We can do what we call mindfulness practices. We can do meditations. We can do prayers. All right, there are different forms of prayers. There are different form of prayers. Prayers like really giving thanks. Thanksgiving is a form of prayers. Guys, tell me the type of prayers that you do in the comments. What are prayers do you do? I love Thanksgiving prayers a lot. I really did not know how to do kill and die. People know how to pray those kind of prayers. I pray more of Thanksgiving in my reflective moment. I just begin to thank God for what you've done for me. Thank God for allowing me to do this. Thank God for this. Thank God for giving me utterance to be able to speak to the heart of these men and women listening to me right now. What a privilege. Thank God for the opportunity to be able to do this and do that. So I just give thanks for all of that. There are times I really go deeper in my prayers and then I begin to talk as if I'm having future conversation with God and I'm telling God certain things that I just want them to come to reality. All right. I hope you guys are getting the fire. So, whatever forms of prayers that you do is also a way to introspect. That's why when you pray, you have to be in the moment, you have to be present, right? So, self reflection is a tool for connecting, exploring your preferences and your priorities, exploring your proclivities and inclinations, your significant moments in life, things that have happened in your life. Like I just shared my experience with my grandmother bringing eba and soup for me in school, which is not the regular for every other child. Like it's so unique. Like out of 100 students in school, I'll be the only one with eba and soup. It's such a unique experience, guys, isn't it? Okay, it's such a unique experience. And so, reflecting on significant moments. Maybe you are married, you've had certain experiences with your kids, with your family, with your husband, with your wife, or in business. You've had certain customers who came into your space and there was this interaction. So those things are really reflective, and then you can begin to now rewire your thinking so that you can work well. Yes. So that is it. And then we can also begin to reflect on our values. Just ask ourselves probing questions, direct questions that can help us unravel what our values are. Okay? So that when you're not acting in alignment, then you can begin to revisit your foundation. Okay. She also says I don't have time for fire prayer. That's beautiful. Okay, so you can begin to revisit your foundation. So another thing that we can also begin to do as a roadmap to identifying our core values and principles is clarifying your personal uh, purpose statement or mission in life. What's your purpose? Why are you in existence? This is another way to identify your core values. Okay, when you aspire to achieve anything, maybe legacy inclined, um, Your purpose can really also give you clarity as to what your values looks like. Your purpose is the reason you do certain things. Now, it's possible you are gifted in an area of life, so using that gift to serve an ultimate purpose, using it to serve God, is what it looks like to really be purpose, right? Even if you are doing business, in a relationship, using it to serve God and give God glory, it's where the purpose lies. So when you understand what you are good at and how you are really using it to serve God and to also make the life of another person better, then you can now begin to understand that these are somewhat my core values. Okay. Evelyn also does prayer of thanksgiving. Mary says prayer of petition. Okay. Okay, that's good. So another thing is begin to also evaluate your role models. Guys, who are your role models? This is another way to unravel what your true values are. The people that you look up to. Okay. Now, have you ever noticed that you are following people, you love their work, you love them? It gets to a certain level, sometimes you're like, "Hmm, I think I have to begin to follow this other person." Not because you no longer like this other person. Sometimes it's also as a result of the fact that your purpose has also grown to a certain level. It has also grown to a certain level. It's not bad to outgrow certain role models. It's not bad to outgrow them or to change focus. Okay, to change focus. Now you just have to clarify to know whether you're on track, whether your values are still aligning with that purpose for you, with that life for you. So your role models, when you identify certain characters in people that you love, that resonate so well with you, and you also want to incorporate those sort of values into your life, those sort of values into your life, then you can now begin to possibly um, see what your values really are like. Okay, you see certain people. I remember back in the days, I used to listen to people like um, Juanita Bino, Paula White. Many of you know Paula White. I love Paula White so much. I used to listen to them a lot. Um, Joyce Meyer, and all these amazing people, Michelle McKinney Armond, Dr. Mike Murdoch, um, late Miles Morrow, and all of these people. I used to listen to them a lot. I still listen to some of them right now, but not those categories, but in the same line. But the truth is, the reason I started listening to them, I really love them, is because of the fact that I was able to identify unique traits and character in these people that were all also resonating with me, right? So I kept on listening to them, connected to them, connected to them so well. And I in those days I used to have this. I listened to them on TV. As soon as I don't buy their tapes, I would listen to them, and I discovered that after a while, my mom started joining me to listen to those people. And then she would be like, "Oh, that your pastor that used to jump up and down when she's talking. Please put the this thing, let's listen." I will know she's talking about maybe Juanita Bino or Paula White. I'll be like, "Okay, which one is it? Is it the fat one or the thin one?" And she said, "That thin one, that one, put that one, put that one." So I discovered that she too also started aligning. She started loving them as well. So that is what we're talking about. That when you listen to somebody and you love the way they really connect to your life and the way they express certain thoughts and teachings, and you love it, that can tell you so much about who you are to a level at your core. Now we're talking about values and principles. It can tell you so much about what you really can connect with. That is a way to clarify as well. Looking at your role models, your mentors, is a way to clarify. It's one of the simplest way to clarify. How many of you have ever thought of it this way before? So I know that sometimes your role models can portray certain things and you may not also like them. Yeah, nobody's 100% there. So maybe the majority of what they push out there, 80 to 90%, you like them. So this can now begin to tell you that, okay, these are my values. I know that this person has this value. Because sometimes when they also express their thoughts and their teachings, these things can also be expressed through them. So identifying your core values, it's beautiful. Like I said already, you are going to stop being depressed. It is going to help you take action. So if you are the type that you are not really actionable, you find it difficult, you struggle in a lot of ways to take steps and do the things that you want to do and do the things that you have prayed for, then you would also have to begin to revisit your um, your kind of experience in these people. You have to look at it and see how it can be replicated in your life so that you can finally be able to live the life of your dream. The next thing is seeking feedback from friends, from family members, from colleagues, from coaches. Ask them to really provide insight on your character, all right, on your character, your strength, and your areas of growth. Ask them to give you what their perspective looks like. I've said a lot around the Johari window here. How many of you have gone to Google that Johari window? Somebody should type it, the Johari window. So this is where the essence of feedback is really very important. I see that in this part of the world, the way we take our feeding seriously, we take our tuition and some other things seriously, we really don't take personal development seriously like that. That's why we have a lot of mental health issues. People are not speaking up, people are depressed, people are not happy, because people are not teaching you how you can begin to align what really matters in your life so that you can live the life of bliss. Okay, so you can live the life of bliss. So feedback are beautiful ways to really know what your values are. Have you had situations where people send you DMs? Priscilla, you're welcome to class. I'm seeing you for the first time. Welcome. Have you had situations where people send you DMs and you're like, oh, please, I'm trying to do this research or this analysis. I want you to tell me 10 things you love about me. How many of you have seen that before? Many of you have seen it. Some of them, most times they do it unconsciously. They don't even know what they are doing. Maybe they got it from someone. Somebody say, go and do that. Really don't know deep down what it is. I am opening you up to that right now to know that there is a concept of getting feedback, which is one of the best way to be coached and to know a lot of things. Yes, that's a spelling, the Johari window. Okay, you can type it on Google, check it out. It will also help you. It's a tool for self-awareness as well. Just like we have the Myers-Briggs, the five personality test, and some other ones. So gather feedback from families, gather feedback from friends, gather feedback from your coaches. Let them tell you what they think about you. Okay, maybe in 5 words, in 5 sentences. Let them just express what they think or who they think you are, and then go back and reassess. Reassess very well. The challenge is that a lot of times we don't like feedback. How many of you like feedback? How many of you like feedback? If you like feedback, type feedback. We don't really like feedback. Even when we are giving feedback that is unsolicited, for meaning that somebody just look at you when you did a certain person is like, oh, and they gave you one kind of feedback, you're going to be like, some people are very, very defensive. So once you are giving such feedback, you see them start defending themselves. Oh, I wanted to do it that way. Oh, I wanted to talk that because you do not like feedback. We all do not like feedback, generally speaking. But with growth, you will now begin to crave for feedback. You will now begin to hunger for it because you know that this feedback is very important for me to move to the next level, for me to discover certain things about my life and see how I really ascend the ladder of growth. Okay. Okay, Martin is in love with feedback and see how I can really begin to ascend the ladder of growth as I take my life to the next level. Guys, if you have not liked this video, please do it to like. I see 8 of you live right now. Like the video, share. If you have not subscribed to the channel, do where to subscribe. Okay, so when you ask people to help you determine a lot of things around your character, your strength, your areas of growth, it's going to help you because a standard perspective has a usual to play as to how we grow. All right. The next one, which is like the last roadmap to really um, identify your core values and your principles, is to test your values. This is where you put your values and your principles to test by applying them in real life situations. Okay, you apply them in real life situations? How does it influence your decision making? How do you make decisions? How do you take actionable steps? How do you interact with people? How do you interact? Sometimes when I see people, maybe we're standing, we're having a conversation, and the way you are just looking at somebody so low, demeaning, and I'm like, what's even your problem? I can't stand those people. Like, I can't stand them. It's so irritating to me. Like, you look at somebody, just look them, and you're like, oh, you're not up to my standard. How they even talk to me? And I'm like, what's going on here? What kind of values does this person even have? Where did you learn this from? How were you trained? Which of the home did you come from? Do you get it now? So it is time to put your values to test in your daily encounters, in your daily activities. Begin to put your value to test. All right? Begin to what? Put your value to test so that you understand what kind of values you have and see how you can also grow and get better. Because your values at the end of the day, like I said, is going to be expressed in your daily agendas, in business, in relationship. All right, in the way you also parent, these things will come out. They will eventually come out. You cannot hide them. Like they say, character is like smoke. You cannot hide it. They say it begins from home, but it doesn't end at home. Is that it? Yeah, it begins from home. It will not end there. It is going to continue. So test your values by applying them to what? Real life experiences. So when you go back in the place of reflection right now, you're going to begin to ask yourself, why have I not done the things I'm supposed to do? I keep saying I will do this thing, I will do it, I will do it. I keep procrastinating. What are even my values? What do I even want in life? I keep saying I would read that book, but I'm never reading them. What are even my values? Is it that I'm not interested in personal transformation? Is it that the place where I grew up, they are not interested in things like that? And so those things were inculcated into my system subconsciously that right now I'm bringing them forth and I don't even know how to move to the next. So testing your values will require you to do the work, will require you to deliberately step into situations, will require that once you have had interactions on a daily basis, you go back to your closet and you begin to reflect on the sort of conversations that was had during the day and how the conversation went. If somebody even have or had a conversation with you, you should be able to evaluate what the person has brought to the table and tell yourself, am I sure I really want to continue this relationship? Like I shared from the beginning of that handsome bubble that wanted to marry me. And he said something about my pastor, and that was the end of the conversation. That was the end of goat meat pursuit joint. That was the end of visitation and discussing the Bible. Those things were not meaning anything to me because once you have been able to talk down the person that I look at as and I respect, even if it's just a normal human being, all right, walking on the street, and you could say those words, then we've got no business to do together because one day you are going to talk to me like that. You are going to relate to me like that. You might be doing all the love right now because there are butterflies in your stomach, but once those butterflies are no longer there, once they go back to their cocoons and their cassava leaves, all right, you are going to get back to your vomit. You're going to get back to your real personality. And at that time, there will be nobody to help me. So, identifying core values and principles is essential to building a strong foundation. Guys, have you understood the reason we chose this topic today? It is essential to building a strong foundation in all areas of life. Okay? It's essential because when you gain clarity on what really matters to you, you can begin to make more aligned choices, cultivate meaningful relationships, and lead a purpose-driven life. We need to educate people around us the more. We need to educate our children. We need to educate people that we do businesses with. We need to be able to take this sensitization out there so that people can begin to, connect in a way that we know that we are giving out the best and we are opening up people's hearts to what should be, to what the right character should look like. So self-reflection is beautiful. At the core of this conversation, you must continue to reflect. You must continue to test. Reflect, you test, reflect, you test. That's where work lies. In organizations, they pay strategic thinkers more than those that carry the more. If you have been in this class again and again, you understand what I mean by more. Somebody should go more. I don't know how to even spell it. Okay, you understand that strategic thinkers are paid more than those who even carry the heavy lifting of the blocks, the sands, the concrete. They pay them more. Why? Because it's a lot of work. It's not easy to sit down. If you've read stillness, is it stillness? Is the enemy? Ego is the enemy. Obstacle in the way. Done by Ryan Holiday. I think the title is just stillness. And in that book, it spoke about the fact that the most difficult thing on earth right now is for somebody to sit down in one place and keep quiet. How many of you believe that? The first day I saw it, I was like, are you for real? Like Rian, Mr. Rian, like to sit down and just don't talk too much and just don't say nothing and just reflect. Yes. So when bet on yourself and yet when she was sharing the fact that people overschedule activities but they don't have time for reflection. So it's not really about doing those activities now. If you do those activities and you don't go back to introspect so you can know the things you're doing well and the things you're not doing well, you're gonna keep falling into mistakes. You're gonna keep making mistakes at the end of the day. Because how are you even guaranteed that those steps you're taking they are aligning with your actions? I mean, they are aligning with your real personality, they are aligning with your purpose, they are aligning with who you are at your core. How are you even sure that they are aligning? So once you're not sure that they are aligning with who you are, then it is possible that you keep doing the wrong thing over a long period of time, that you get to a level you become, you burn out. You now begin to have a place of, boredom, right? Boredom. There's a name for this. There's a name that Mia Shikzania gives to something like this. I will remember. I remember there's a name for it. So you now begin to experience boredom. You now begin to experience psychic entropy. Yes, that's the line from Mia Shikzania. Psychic entropy. There is no balance. There is no flow in your life. So at that level where you begin to experience psychic entropy, you now begin to see that your life is no longer centralized. Your life is no longer experiencing balance. Okay, there's no more balance in you. Do you see that? So that consistency in it is beautiful. Maybe in our subsequent sessions, I will really go deep into reflection. Yeah, I've shared some of the work. You can go and read those books. You guys have a lot of work to do here. You can go and read those books. That I have shared. I've shared how many books, guys? I spoke about The Gift of Imperfection by Brené Brown, Finding Your Way by Sharon Salzberg, The Pivot Here by Brianna West, the lady that wrote The Mountain Is You. Um, so we have Bet on Yourself by Ann Hiatt, and then we have Is on Me by Sarah Kiburik. So maybe we would have to have a conversation like this on maybe introspection. We just teach introspections and all the different ways to go about it. How many of you be interested in such conversation? But from what I have been sharing so far, I think you've been able to get a hint on what that should look like for you. Yes, that's it. Psychic entropy. Ego is the enemy and obstacle in the way. Yeah, have you read them, Chinoso? Yeah, they're a powerful book. Yeah. So psychic entropy is the word, okay, or is that a phrase or something? I don't know. But that's it. It's a compound word, or they are two different words together. So so your ability to understand how to navigate the entropism, psychic entropism, is very important so that you can be able to attain the life of flow. So doing the work of system, have you seen that maybe for days where you just keep walking? We are not wired like that. The reason is because we are spiritual beings. We're spiritual beings. You can make all the money, live in a mansion, but at the end of the day, you just see that there's no balance. The water in your system, it's not balancing out. 90%, 70 to 90% of our body system is made up of water, right? So what if the water is in one position and it's not really circulating? There's not going to be balance. So that sort of balance is important for us to be able to live the life that brings love and happiness and bliss and what have you. So it's truly important. So by the time we are able to identify these core values and principles, they're going to help us to consistently build strong foundations. So there are times that you want to make certain decisions in business, and you're like, this thing is not all going well with me. It's not rhyming with my spirit. It's not flowing. I don't have peace. I just don't have peace. And you are battling. Okay? You are battling. Maybe as a young person, you have not been married and you have 10 people on your list. You have 10 people on your list and you carry those names. And you're like, Pastor, help me and pray. Which one is the right person? I'm wondering, what is even your problem? Your problem is that you don't understand your purpose. You don't understand core values. So what will you be doing with 8 names at a go, or even 5 names? What are you doing with them? You're confused, right? What are you doing with them? You should be able to filter them out just by having conversations. Having conversations with them, you should be able to filter them out if you are really very uh, tuned with your person. Yeah, so the essence of all of these teachings is so that you can begin to have that level of light in your heart to be able to step into certain situations. Okay? To be able to step into certain situations. And when you step into those situations, you don't even regret their outcomes. You know why you don't regret their outcomes? Because you're able to make those bold decisions. You know what it means to make decisions? The reason we have daddies in the house and they are so proud to be daddies is because they make most of the major decisions. Yeah, they make most of the major decisions. Even as a maybe as a wife, when you come and you're like, oh, I don't like this decision right now. You would have to have that conversation with your guy in the house. Although your guy and the madam has to come together to have the decision, but at the end of the day, the man should have the um the first say in the situation. Although there are times where the woman also have upper hand in certain situations, maybe because she's more knowledgeable in an area or she has more experience in an area, but most of the time, 60% I would say of the time, the man should have the final say. Do you see that in terms of decision making? All right. So these are all some of the things you now begin to do so that you can build yourself in advance what is to come. If you are running a business, I had a session recently, an interview session with um, um, friend or colleague in the space, currently doing her PhD work, and so she needed to do some interview sessions. And I was in that room with her, having a conversation, and then she asked me something really I've never thought about. And she asked me, "Are you the sole decision maker in your business?" Now that led on to other conversations. All right, and I was like, "Oh my God, sole decision maker." So we had to delve into that, and it was really introspective. I love it so much, and it was beautiful. And then we talked about the money aspect. We're making money from our businesses and some other things. So what am I saying in a nutshell? That sometimes you would not even know that you are disabled in an area, that you are not knowledgeable in an area. That then when it comes to making decisions in that area, you are struggling. You're going back and forth. There are some there are some brothers and sisters in church. I'm talking about this relationship because I know that we have a lot of young people here as well. You'll be like, don't worry, let me go and pray. And then 3 months and you're still praying. They ask you, what is your answer? And I've not really received the answer. It's because you're confused actually. Things that you would have just filtered out with mere critical thinking, mere knowledge. But because you are not knowledgeable, you carry everything to God and you are confused. God is even speaking, but you're not even hearing at the end of the day. So there has to be a certain level of understanding that you have so that you're able to help your life move from where you are to the next level. You want to move to a new city, a new country, a new whatever. You want to do these things, you need knowledge. Even in parenting, how do you have conversations with your kids? Yeah, you have 2 kids, you have 5 kids. How do you balance conversations with them? All right. So these are some of the things we look at for. So you must begin to take self-reflection seriously. All right. So that you can continue to test It's more like life is all about experimentation. There's a book, Alien Thinking. I love that book so much. Alien Thinking is more like a model, right? The E there stands for experimentation. And the author said a lot around the fact that life is about experimentation, business is about experimentation. Nobody has gotten it all together. Apostle Paul, with all his knowledge in the Word of God, the exploits, he was one of the, he wasn't part of the foundational apostles, the 12, but he was an apostle that had so much wisdom, doggedness, and innovative ability to be able to create new work and do exploit in the kingdom. But in all of it, he said we know in part. Everything we do is in part. Prophesy in part. We do everything in part until when the fullness of time will fully come, that we can now begin to understand how to live the life of you know authenticity, the life that God truly wants, that is embedded and laced in love. All right, I think that's First Corinthians 13 or so. So what am I saying in a nutshell, friends? That when it comes to really building ourselves, taking our lives to the next level, doing the things that really matters, knowledge is key. I've recommended 5 books. I know you may not be able to read all of them before our next class. If I recommended that ones. But then if you have gone through some of my sessions, you can go and engage in um, what do we call it now? Skimming and scanning methodology of reading. It's a beautiful way to read because most of the major reasons we read is to glean perspectives, glean ideas, so that you can change your worldview. There's a certain way you are looking at life that's giving you heartache. You can just glean a certain level of perspective from an author. You're like, oh my God, thank you, God, for my deliverance. Maybe there's something, a situation that is giving you a heartache because of your worldview, because of the lens at which you're looking at that situation. And then you just glean some form of ideas from another person. And then you're like, oh my God, so why have I been viewing this situation like this? I think now I understand that I can actually view it this way and understand how to live my life better. So that's why I also encourage the concept of skimming and scanning. I'm a huge fan of skimming. I skim a lot. I skim books a lot. I'm a queen of it, and it really can help. Sometimes you can skim 10 books in a day, and at the end of the day, you make the decision to just read one or two. So skimming is beautiful. You can use that tool to go through these different books, gain those perspectives. Now, one thing that has really helped me over the years is the fact that reading is really therapeutic. It's really a therapy for me. And why is it a therapy? When there is a situation, many of you have been in a situation that you are like, oh my God, how do I even come out of this my situation? You cry and cry and cry and cry, nothing is happening, nothing is changing. Put your hand in your jaw like this, you're like, am I the only one in this world? How many of you have been in that situation? You have been in that situation. Type, I have been in that situation. It happens to all of us every day. Even to the best intentioned, to the one that is whatever, we all go through situations of life. The truth is, Michael Bernard Beckwith has a line for it, the dark night of the soul. So you just put your hand on your jaw like that, you're like, oh my God. Sometimes when Coach Rate is even chatting you up, you're like, this woman better leave me alone. I'm not interested in book right now. This situation is more than me. How many of you can attest to what I'm saying? Like if you've been in that situation, just say I've been in that situation. Like, madam, I better not be book I want read now. I don't think book can solve my problem. Okay? And then maybe after I've chatted you up for the first and second time, be like, hello, coach. I'm really down right now. Yeah, I do understand. I can relate because I'm a human being. It happens to me as well all the time. So one thing I've loved about books is the fact that sometimes when you are in that situation, just realize that it is your perspective that is causing you the heartache. It is your perspective about life that is causing you that sort of sickness. All right, that you are not able to even stand up to do the right thing because you are really down emotionally, because you are really down in a way that you cannot really carry yourself. And what do? Books are really powerful. Yeah, that's why I encourage skimming and scanning a lot, because there could be that one book that you really just need and you just want to have a conversation with um with an invisible teacher, I will call it, with an invisible teacher who you think may not judge you. Maybe you have not healed from that situation and just need somebody to talk to. I think we should go back to bibliotherapy. I would have a session on bibliotherapy. All right. I will have a session on bibliotherapy again. I used to have a session on that. I think I had two sessions in 2021 on relationship bibliotherapy. It was strictly on relationship. We're just there to talk about relationship and we look into different books, different authors, their perspective, how they view relationship, love matters, and stuff like that. It was really things connected to love matters. We're going to look at bibliotherapy again. Bibliotherapy is a word that means book therapy, using book as a therapy. In this part of the world, you can be in a very difficult situation and you don't have anybody to talk to. Most of us, because we go to church, we talk to our pastors, and if our pastors are not really equipped enough to handle such situations, they can just give us, vague answers, and we may not be able to really heal fast. Because when you are in a certain situation, you need quick, quick, what we call it, quick words, because there are word parts, words, and some sort of support, all right, to really help you come out of that situation really fast, because we all get into deep emotions. Get out of that situation. Have you seen when somebody dies, maybe you lost someone, a loved one, and people start coming. We have been in that situation. People will start coming. This one will say, when I lost my this, I remember when I lost my dad. People were coming from different places. Some will say, when I lost my dad. Oh, when I lost my mommy. Oh, when I did this. You discover that by the time they share all their experiences, before you know it, you start recovering. You start feeling better. Even though it may not really take up the pain immediately, but you start feeling better. You now relate to somebody that say, my father died this way. Maybe your dad died at 70, and somebody is telling you, my own died at 52. You'll be like, my own self last too. So you not be having those sort of interactions with yourself when they are not there, because they have been able to give you a lot of you know advice. So that's what bibliotherapy does. When you are going through a situation, maybe it's emotional, maybe it's mentally, maybe it's spiritual, whatever it is, and you can just hang on to those thoughts and ideas, perspective about life, quickly go through them. They really can help you ease and get out of the situation. The truth is, nobody's coming to save you. You've got to wake up and step out of that situation. Just like when you don't have money, who is coming to give you money? They can give you one or two money here and there for a while, but for it to be sustainable, you must also grow up and learn how to fish for yourself, right? So this concept of reflection, it's really a beautiful journey, and I like you to take it up seriously, guys. Maybe in our subsequent sessions, we'll talk about reflections, and then really you can see how you balance your life and begin to take it to the next level. Yes, if you have any question, you can drop it now. Fungan says, I've been there in that situation. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, okay. Gully says, okay, we have all been there. I've been there too. So if you have any question, guys, you can ask. Who is still in the room? Type, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. Let me know those of you that stayed to the end, so that I can give you uh, my gift of staying to the end. So I recommended 5 books. You can write them down in your notes. Finding Your Way by Sharon Salzberg, The Pivot Here by Brianna West. We have Bet on Yourself by Ann Hiatt. It's on Me by Sarah Kubirik. And then the last one is The Gift of Imperfection by Brené Brown. Yeah, really beautiful. Okay, Gali, stay here. So if you have any question that you can ask before I give this couple of few announcements, so we can go. Every Monday morning, 5 a.m., we normally would have a book motivation Mondays where we have powerful conversations around books. Okay, we pick a specific book. Okay, unlike the Readers Public Show where I get to teach, sometimes I also bring guests on the show and then we recommend books for you to go and read, right? So I'm not reading it for you. I'm just coming here to teach, share thoughts with you that will deepen you in your journey of personal transformation. But in the Book Motivation Monday, I'll just pick one book. Maybe out of these 5 books that I recommended, I can decide to pick one and I will just teach it on a deeper level for 30 minutes. And then you can ask your questions. That's what we do on Book Motivation Mondays. So it's all a place for learning, personal transformation, reading, and much more. So Monday morning on our Telegram platform, 5 a.m. what we get to meet, we have that conversation. Then every Friday like this, we meet for a Readers Public Show by 8 p.m. what? Okay, for the days there will not be program, you will not see the flyer. In as much as there is a flyer, it means that we're going to show up here, except if otherwise we would also announce. So ensure that you always show up. and be part of our programs that we've got. We're running off the current reading challenge in the next 2 days. Yeah, the 28th edition. It's been beautiful. I believe that those that have participated, whether you stopped halfway, which is normal, whether you stop halfway or you're still on the challenge, and for those of you in the Leaders Book Club community, if you didn't participate in the challenge, I don't know why. Like I made it compulsory for every one of you to go through. I think it's only Martin that I still have standing. I don't know if there's any other person that I've not noticed. Chris, I didn't see you in the challenge, so you're going to pay a fine. Get ready to pay your fine. Ma'am Evelyn, I didn't see you in the challenge. And so many of you, I didn't see Ma'am Indi started halfway. I think she joined halfway or something. Ma'am Phyllis, and so many of you in the book club, I didn't see you. So guys, make sure that you keep up with activities so that you can grow. Like I would always say, a huge part of transformation is in your showing up. Okay. So you're gonna keep getting updates. Make sure you follow our leaders page on Facebook as well. I share updates there, and on our Telegram community, I also share announcements there, so you know what we have at time. I hope you have learned something today. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So guys, I've not seen any question. Okay, so there's no question. Yes, Chris, you're fine. I'm going to tell you you're fine when we meet on Tuesday, because we have a meeting coming up on Tuesday in the book club. So you guys are going to pay fine, really compulsory. I'm not kidding. I'm not joking about this, except God touched my heart about it because I made it compulsory. So we're rounding off right now. I hope you have enjoyed the Readers Public Show. If you have enjoyed it, tell me I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it, and somebody should tell me, should drop, should take a screenshot, right? Share your most exciting experience so far in the chat in this conversation, and Mom Girly, Mom Jima, you can take a screenshot, and then we're going to use that to also share with other people so that they can show up in the meeting subsequently. So it's been beautiful just interacting and talking about core values, principles, which we really don't talk about. But I thank God that we've been able to delve into it, and our eyes are open right now. So we have received truth that will really help us going forward to be able to navigate our lives and to be able to take our transformation to the next level. I know fully well that we can all be able to live that life that we want to live, the life of brilliance, yes, and be able to step up into a realm of extraordinary accomplishment if we make up our mind and make the decision to continue to do the work and to step up in ways that we have always prayed for. Yes, aligning our actions with our values so that we can build ourselves into that realm of synchronicity, that we can begin to experience serendipitous moments and encounters that will really set us ablaze. Yeah, have you taken your screenshot now? Because we have to go. We have to go. And define core values and principles is essential for building that foundation for an extraordinary life. Yeah, I want to celebrate those of you that are here, and for those of you that will be watching the replay. This is a place where we have conversations around reading, personal development, books, and a lot of other conversations in between. So, guys, if you are just joining us for the first time, thank you for coming around. Once again, my name is Michael, and do not hesitate to join other subsequent sessions that we've got coming up on a Friday basis. Okay, so we are going. Thank you for your time. I will see you next week, Friday, apart from our session on book motivation. Bye for now. Yay. I love you all. Bye. Bye. See you tomorrow.